Worst way to catch a cheating wife. This happened a few years ago. I'm only just now writing it out after reading so many other stories. I hope mine helps someone else survive betrayal. I was married for nearly 20 years to my ex-wife. I was a professional firefighter before we even met. I started my career right after graduating high school, at 17 years old, with a parent waiver. I was a fourth-generation fireman. Over the years, I worked my way up to battalion chief. Eventually, I requested a demotion back to rescue captain because that's where all my certifications were. That was the work I loved. One Christmas Eve, we got a call, a structure fire at an apartment building. When we arrived on scene, 18 residents were unaccounted for. We began rescue operations immediately. In one unit, I found a young husband and wife, got them out, and as I was swapping out my air bottle, the woman suddenly started screaming, "My baby, my baby." I ran to her and asked, "What kind of baby am I looking for? Dog, cat, human?" "What?" She just kept repeating, "My baby." So I went back in. A short while later, I came out carrying an infant, but before I could make it all the way out, something inside the building exploded. Debris went flying everywhere. A piece of wood, like a giant splinter, hit me square in the back. I somehow made it to the triage area, handed off the baby, and collapsed. That's when they discovered the splinter. It had pierced me deeply. I was airlifted to a trauma center. On the flight, I died twice and was revived. Emergency surgery revealed that the splinter had nicked my heart. I was dying. My crew called my wife to let her know what happened. She told them she wasn't coming, said she had better things to do than worry about my ploys for attention, claimed I was using the job to try and get into her panties. I was hospitalized for 30 days. They wouldn't release me until they were confident I was healed enough to return home. My home was over 60 miles from the hospital, way out in a rural area. When the time finally came to go home, I begged my wife to come pick me up. She said she didn't have time to make that drive. I had to call around. Eventually, one of my crew members agreed to take me. When we got to my house, her minivan was in the driveway. We went inside. Room by room, we looked for her. When I opened the bedroom door, I dropped to my knees. My crewmate stepped in behind me and yelled out, "What the hell are you doing?" There she was, my wife, in our bed, with 3 men. One was under her, in her, another behind her, and the third in her mouth. It was the kind of scene you only see in nightmares. What gutted me the most was that she never once did those things with me. She always said I was too big, said it would hurt her or make her gag. My friend pulled me out of there, got me clothes, took me to another friend's house, and explained everything that had happened. Later, that same friend told me, when he went back in to grab my things, the 4 of them just kept going, didn't stop once. He even recorded it on his phone. A few days later, my friends helped me find a lawyer and start the divorce. Thankfully, our kids were already adults. We didn't have to drag them through custody battles. In court, I found out that every single man in our friend group had been with her, everyone except me. She admitted it openly in front of the judge, said I was nothing but a paycheck, said she used to lie in bed praying I'd die in the line of duty, just so she could collect the $1 million life insurance policy. When we met, she was sweet, naive, a little slow in some things, but when her mother lost everything and moved in with us, that's when things began to change. Eventually, I bought a small building and converted it into a cottage at the back of our property so her mother could live there and we could get some privacy. That's when things really shifted, but I was blind to it. I was working non-stop, 48 hours on, 24 off, sometimes taking a second job just to support the 5 of us, my wife, our 2 kids, her mother, and myself. Since catching her, the house has been sold. Everything split and settled. But through it all, my crew stood by me. They helped me try to get back to full duty status. They made sure I had someone to talk to, and many of them lived an hour away from me. But they still showed up. I worked my ass off to make it back. I wanted to hit 30, 5 years of service and retire on my own terms. When it came time for my physical, I passed. But then I was called into the chief's office. He said, "Captain, you have 2 choices. 1. Retire now with 30 years and keep your full pension and benefits. Or 2. We medically retire you and you get half fee." I told him I passed all the tests. He said, "Captain, you are one of the best rescue specialists I have ever known, but your age, your injury history, and your recent diagnosis, post-traumatic stress and bipolar disorder, make you too high risk. The insurance won't cover you anymore." So, I retired, left broken, defeated. When my ex-wife found out, she started tormenting me, trying to push me towards suicide. At least that's what it felt like. Instead of letting her win, I left. I started volunteering with animal rescue, living in an RV, trying to piece together a new life. I wasn't social, didn't date, barely spoke to anyone, outside of my sister firefighter. I didn't think I'd ever be in a relationship again, didn't think I'd ever trust again. Then one day, through one of those online games, I met a woman. We chatted, eventually exchanged numbers. 18 months later, she said she wanted to meet me. Said, "No way you're a perv, because no one puts in this much time just to pick a target." That made me laugh harder than I had in years. I was hesitant. We had a 20-year age gap. We were different races. And where I live, interracial relationships are still frowned upon. But I agreed to meet her. It was the best decision of my life. She's everything I dreamed of and more. Old-fashioned in the best way. Raised to believe that family comes before anything. Not against working, but she believes that a woman's first responsibility is to her spouse and home. I don't mind a woman working, but family should always come first, for men and women alike. Strange twist of fate. I lost my father in the Vietnam War, and now I'm married to a Vietnamese woman. We were expecting our first child in November of 2021. Cheating is horrible, maybe the worst pain you can be dealt, but it is not the end of the world. Not all women, not all men, are like your cheating ex. Find yourself again, get help, rebuild. You are stronger than you think. Life and love will always find a way.